to 15.7 trillion naira at the end of December 2019.
Senior Democrats have responded by accusing him of committing a gross offense.
The All Progressives Congress has vowed to punish the Ogun State Governor, Ibikule Amosu.
Welcome to Celebration Television News Desk. I am Nicholas Akosile Walter. Here are the news making the headlines. Nothing shatters inferiority complex like courage, says Apostle Johnson Suleiman. Chad president kicks off campaign for 6th term. Merkel's party slums to defeat in regional polls. NNPC subsidiaries get 7-day ultimatum to appear before reps. Ronaldo breaks Peles records, tops world goal scoring list. Please stay with us as we bring you details of that news after the short break. You're welcome back, and now the news in details. Nothing shatters inferiority complex like courage, says Apostle Suleiman. The battle of complex was one of the battles Gideon faced in the Bible, says Apostle Johnson Suleiman. These he explained further while he was preaching on Sunday, 14th March 2021 on the topic titled, When God is With You. He mentioned that even when God was encouraging and boosting Gideon in his original capacity as given by him, he was still looking down on himself because he lacked the knowledge of his worth and capacity. While the service was in progress, he added that it takes courage for inferiority complex to be shattered, stating that even with divine presence, if a believer is enveloped with inferiority complex, he can become a casualty.
The first battle against divine, that battles God's presence in our life, is the battle of complex. Someone say complex. God had to introduce Gideon to who? To Gideon. Thou mighty man, because you don't know who you are. How many of you know a man can have a loaded gun in his house and yet be killed by somebody who had the cutlass? Because he doesn't know how to pull the trigger. Hey, sir, you are a mighty man of valor. Meaning, even with divine presence, if you are enveloped with complex, you become a casualty. Even with divine presence, if you are overwhelmed with complex, you look down on yourself. You talk down on yourself. You are swallowed up by your condition. You are carrying gold, but living like a dog. You are carrying gold, but you are eating dust because you are full of complex. It's called inferiority complex. You feel you are not good enough. You feel you cannot do it. You feel you cannot arrive. You feel you are not. Anytime you are filled with that, the presence of God on you is rubbish. It's made inconsequentially infinitesimal. Why? Because you are overwhelmed. You are swallowed up. Complex. Nothing shatters complex like courage.
While addressing the battles Gideon faced as a result of complex, he said believers are unaware of the strength God has furnished them with, as they are easily moved by what they hear, as such react to it same way. He urged all to guard their hearts against corrupt communications because it can't control their beliefs and thoughts. This message in all is aimed at building believers' confidence in the Lord no matter the circumstances. Moving forward quickly, ASU warns a fresh strike over on remitted deductions. The Academic Staff Union of Universities blames the federal government as well as the Secretary General of the Federation over what it calls the victimization of its members. He says the federal government has refused to pay its members' salaries despite the no victimization clause of the suspended strike. According to ASU, while its members are back to their duty posts to work, the harsh economy being experienced due to unpaid salaries and non-refund of deducted check-off dues will affect productivity. The chairman of ASU University of Ibadan, Professor Ayo Akinwale, says the federal government failed to remit the deduction it made to the account of the union. The union warns that if pushed to limit, withdrawal of work in the nearest future may be inevitable. Akinwale says while government was paying outstanding 5-month salaries for those on nominal roll at an agonizing slow pace, over 100 UI academic staff members were being owed salaries for between 2 to 10 months. He says those newly employed in February 2020 had not received money, with their families and dependents suffering over the rejection of enrollment on the IPPIS. He says while ASU had remained faithful to the agreements by returning to classes and performing their respective duties, the federal government reneged on its part. In another development, NAFDAC raises the alarm on fake COVID-19 vaccines. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration Control wants Nigeria to be wary of fake COVID-19 vaccines in the country. The organization also wants Nigeria to refrain from procuring the vaccine online to avoid falling into the wrong hands of merchants of vet. The agency warned Nigeria to be vigilant and expose anyone who might want to divert COVID-19 vaccine donated by international donors for profiteering. The Director General of NAFDAC, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, issued a warning in statement by its resident media consultant, Sayo Akintola. No fewer than 5,000 head personnel in the Federal Capital Territory will receive the COVID-19 vaccines today and Tuesday. The frontline workers will be given the jabs at the Asokoro District Hospital, Abuja, where the vaccination will be inaugurated by the Federal Capital Territory Minister, Mohammed Bello. And quickly, coming from around Africa, Chad President kicks off campaign for 6th term. Chad President Idriss Deby INT'L kicks off his campaign for a 6th term, calling for unity after rival protests were banned and broken up. The first rally since the start of the official election period was held by Deby's Patriotic Salvation Movement at Park Stadium in capital N'Djamena. Deby, who has ruled for 30 years and is widely deemed a shoe-in for another term, says he has fought for national unity while also drawing a line in the sand of his opponents. On Thursday, 3 opposition candidates quit the race ahead of the April 11 ballot, with one of them, Muhammad Yoksko Brahim, says that the climate was not favorable for fair and transparent presidential election. Their withdrawal leaves half a dozen candidates, including Deby, who has ruled the country since 1990. In recent months, demonstrations calling for his resignations have been banned and violently dispersed. And still coming from around Africa, Exrebel Chief Ntumi calls for peaceful and transparent elections. Former rebel leader Pastor Ntumi, who took up arms after the re-election of President Denis Sassou Nguesso in the previous election in 2016, says the presidential election on Sunday, 21st of March in Congo-Brazzaville must be held in peace, transparency, and respect for the rules of the game. The election must not be an opportunity to reawaken the old demons of division, added Frederick Bin Samuel alias Pastor Ntumi. 7 candidates are running on the 21st of March, including the incumbent President Sassou Nguesso, 77 years old and 36 years in power. The former rebel leader's party, the National Council of Republicans, is not presenting any candidate and is not supporting any candidate, he added. The candidates for the election must show love, greatness, patriotism, and fair play. Pastor Ntumi took up arms after the disputed re-election of President Sassou Nguesso in March 2016. Pastor Ntumi rejected the accusation that he was playing into the hands of the government in the run-up to the elections. The former rebel leader presented to the press the construction site of a hospital that he says he is building for the people of the area. We'll go on a very short break. We'll come back. We'll bring you updates from Germany. Stay with us.
Holy Ghost. The message of the church is Christ, but the hand of God is the church.
Several years ago, the Lord gave me a mandate and instruction to gather ministers of God. Said gather them for a program tagged the minister without blemish. Are you a pastor? Are you an evangelist? Are you a prophet, a teacher, an apostle? Do you have a calling to any area of ministry? It's a time out where we are not just educated but renovated. But we are modified, fine-tuned into what God wants from us as ministers of the gospel.
Hey! Prophetic mantle. Hey! Fresh! Hey!
You'll be encouraged, you'll be charged up.
It is only a man that is full that will stand and will have something to deliver. It is only a man that is full that will stand out in his generation.
Date 23rd through 26th March 2021 by 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. GMT+1, happening at the International Worship Center, Omega Fire Ministries, kilometer 132 Benin Okene Abuja Expressway, Auchi, Edo State, Nigeria. For inquiries, please call.
You will meet with God. I'll see you in March edition of the Minister Without Blemish.
Welcome back, and now updates from Germany. Merkel's party slams to defeat in regional polls. Angela Merkel's ruling Christian Democrats, CDU, have suffered poor results in two key regional votes, seen as an indication of what might happen in September's general election. The CDU won about a quarter of the vote in Baden-Württemberg and Rhineland-Palatinate, and the two western states were once conservative strongholds. Mrs. Merkel is due to step down as German Chancellor in September after 16 years in office. The slump in the CDU vote comes amid anger in Germany at the slow pace of the coronavirus vaccine rollout and a mass procurement scandal. Several conservative lawmakers have quit over allegations they received huge commissions for arranging government deals to buy face masks. In Baden-Württemberg, the Green Party is predicted to hang on to power with about 33% of the vote, with the CDU getting 24% less than the previous poll in 2016. In neighboring Rhineland-Palatinate, the center-left Social Democrats, SPD, are projected to retain power with about 36%. The CDU had led in opinion polls, but it's predicted to get only 28% of the vote. CDU Secretary General Paul Ziemak said it was not a good election evening for the CDU. Now, more updates from the Netherlands. Netherlands suspend use of AstraZeneca vaccine. The Netherlands has become the latest country to suspend the use of Oxford AstraZeneca vaccines, coronavirus vaccine, over concern about possible side effects. The Dutch government said the move, which will last until at least 29th of March, was a precaution. The Republic of Ireland earlier made a similar decision over reports of blood clotting events in adults in Norway. But the World Health Organization says there is no link between the jab and an increased risk of developing a clot. The European Medicines Agency's EMA, which is currently carrying out a review into incidence of blood clots, says the vaccine's benefits continue to outweigh its risk. Denmark, Norway, Bulgaria, Iceland, and Thailand have already halted the use of the AstraZeneca vaccines. In a statement, the Dutch government said it was acting out of precaution following reports from Denmark and Norway of possible serious side effects, and this decision would now cause delays in the Dutch vaccination program. The authorities had pre-ordered 12 million doses of AstraZeneca, with nearly 300,000 jabs scheduled in the next 2 weeks. And quickly, we'll go straight to business news. NNPC subsidiaries get 7-day ultimatum to appear before reps. The House of Representatives Committee on Public Accounts Committee issues a 7-day ultimatum to heads of the 17 subsidiaries of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation to appear before it or risk being arrested by warrant of the House. The Office of the Auditor General of the Federation had in its audit queries accused NNPC subsidiaries of failing to render their audited accounts over the years. Those with queries against them include the Nigerian Petroleum Development Company Limited, Petroleum Products Marketing Company Limited, Petroleum Products Pricing Regulatory Agencies, and NNPC Retail Limited, National Petroleum Investments and Management Services. The committee has been holding investigative hearings on the audit queries issued by the OAUGF against ministries, departments, and agencies of the federal government. Repeatedly, the committee has summoned the Group Managing Director and NNPC, Mr. Mele Kyari, as well as head of the corporation subsidiaries, asking them to respond to the various audit queries issued by the OAUGF. The committee had earlier threatened to issue arrest warrants against the heads due to their failure to show up. And still, on business news, Petrol subsidy to gulp 102.96 billion naira in March. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation may spend 102.96 billion naira on petrol subsidy this month, going by the recent pricing template for the commodity. A federal government agency, Petroleum Product Pricing Regulatory Agency, on Thursday published the expected new lower and upper prices for petrol at retail outlets in March 2021, putting the rates at 209.61 naira per litre and 212.61 naira per litre respectively. It also puts the ex-depot price of petrol for the month at 206.42 naira per litre and pegged the expected landing cost at 189.61 naira per litre. PPPRA is the regulator of the downstream oil sector. However, the ex-depot price approved by NNPC for March was 148.6 naira per litre, and the corporation insisted that it had not and had no plan to increase petrol price this month. Ex-depot price is the rate at which NNPC sells the commodity to depot owners from where retailers make purchase before dispensing at the pumps and filling stations. NNPC is the sole importer of petrol into Nigeria for more than 3 years. Nigeria consumes about 57.44 million litres of petrol daily, going by the most recent daily consumption figure released by the NNPC in the Financial and Operations Report. We'll go on a short break. When we'll come back, we'll bring you news from the sporting world. Please don't go anywhere.
Is over. You can now connect to Celebration TV's official website www.mycelebrationtv.com. Specially designed for your satisfaction, you get to access a lineup of inclusive contents and programs of Celebration TV. Get the latest updates and news stories from our news desk. Be kept abreast on infos about all outreaches and events of the Resurrection Apostle Johnson and Dr. Lizzie Suleiman. Watch Celebration TV on the go via our 24/7 live streaming service. With all these and more, we make you a partnership with us as we take the gospel around the world way easier with just a click. Hurry now. Visit www.mycelebrationtv.com.
News. Ronaldo breaks Peles record, tops world goal scoring list. Pele congratulates Cristiano Ronaldo for breaking his records of goals scored in official matches. Portuguese star Cristiano Ronaldo hit a hat-trick for Juventus in a 3-1 Serie A win over Cagliari to bring his total to 770 goals. The 36-year-old took to Instagram to tell his 270 million followers he could now claim the record, having matched Peles' 767 on March 2. Peles, the only player in history to win 3 World Cups, has claimed to have scored 1,283 goals in total, including unofficial matches. Ronaldo's goals include 668 for club sides, 5 with Sporting Lisbon, 118 for Manchester United, 450 for Real Madrid, and 95 for Juventus. He has also scored 120 for Portugal. Some media, however, put Zek and Joseph Bican on 805 goals ahead of both Ronaldo and Peles. Former Brazilian striker Romário also claims to have scored 1,000 career goals, including unofficial matches. Other sources attribute 772 to him. In another sports news, quickly, Man United edge West Ham to reclaim second spot. Manchester United tightened their grip on a return to the Champions League next season as Greg Dawson's own goal and Ole Gunnar's men a 1-0 win over West Ham, victory over United back above Leicester into second in the Premier League and closed the gap to runaway leaders Manchester City to 14 points. Despite also having a game in hand on their local rivals, the Red Devils are unlikely to hold in Pep Guardiola's men, but do not enjoy a 9-point cushion over the 5th-placed Hammers in the battle for Champions League places. Former United boss David Moyes has failed to win in 15 attempts as the visiting manager at Old Trafford, and the squad was left to rule an overly cautious approach before falling behind early in the second half. And that has brought us to the end of the news on Celebration Television News Desk. In case you missed out on any of our news article, here's the news headlines. Nothing shatters inferiority complex like courage, says Apostle Suleiman. Chad president kicks off campaign for 6th term. Merkel's party slums to defeat in regional polls. NNPC subsidiaries gets 7-day ultimatum to appear before reps. And Ronaldo breaks Peles record, tops world goal scoring leagues. And quickly we have photo of the day. In that photo, could you see somebody actually bent looking at the other person in the cave? In the quest to live right and make others happy, endeavor to give the right thing to people. You can drop your comment on our social media platform on Facebook, Celebration TV, Instagram, My Celebration TV, Twitter at My Celebration TV, YouTube, Celebration TV. Always remember that your positive contribution to the wellness of the society you find yourself or the organization you work defines your leadership mind. As an individual who knows what to do and do without expecting to be pushed has bagged his ways to success. Be it known today that everything we do, think, feel, and believe either has a positive or negative effect on humanity and on national well-being. Be a part of nation building today. Thank you once more for staying with us on our news desk. So I remain Nicholas Akosile Walter. It's a bye for now. To 15.7 trillion naira by the end of December 2019.
Senior Democrats have responded by accusing AIM of committing a gross offense.
The All Progressives Congress has vowed to punish the Ogun State Governor Ibikule Amosu.